Welcome to today's Java Break, in which we take you all on a walk through AddonSoftware by Barista. My name is Paul Yeomans with Basis International, and today I'll be joined by Mikko Spence, our Chairman and CEO. Let's take a look at today's agenda. We'll start off with just a brief look at what the AddonSoftware product looks like. Then we'll go into answering some questions. Why Barista? Why AddonSoftware should be your ERP of choice? Then we'll address the question about what is commercial open source, which is the model for the AddonSoftware Partner Program. Then we'll get back to the product and we'll talk about AddonSoftware's advanced features, some of the new features we've recently added, and then some of these handy features both within the product itself and those that are inherited from Barista. And when I say inherited from Barista, that means when you write your application in Barista, you will receive these benefits as well. Before we start answering all those whys, let's take a look at AddonSoftware. After logging into the solution, you're presented with the AddonSoftware MDI frame and the menu options on the upper left portion of the screen. The upper panel displays the modules, and we've selected the Accounts Payable module. The tasks associated with the selected module, in this case AP, are displayed in the lower panel. Commonly used tasks are displayed open for easy launching, while other less used tasks are neatly organized into folders. Let's select the Accounts Receivable module from the upper panel, and you'll notice that the associated tasks with AR have been adjusted down below. We're going to select Maintenance. We're going to select the Customer's task to launch the Customer Master Record. In the Customer ID field, we're going to enter 100. And this is our demo data. Customer 100 is Everest Industries. Notice the comfortable modern screen layout with tabs across the top, each of which will display additional information, and the buttons at the bottom of the window are almost self-explanatory, but let's go through them. First one will clear the form in anticipation of creating a new customer record. This will delete the record if this was activated. It would typically be an administrative function. And these navigation keys will walk forward through the demo data of different customer records we've created here. The binoculars are used to query files. And we also have additional options here that display in a drop-down, and we can launch them directly from here. Let's go back up into the main body, and we're going to select the Profile tab. This is going to display information for Everest Industries typically associated with order entry. Next to each of the profile fields, notice the magnifying glass lookup to quickly access all records for that particular type of field. We'll go down here to Freight Terms, and we'll launch it. We can see that we've got 3 different terms that have been created in the demo data. Double click on that and it populates that field, and then the field is described. Let's go to the next tab, Aging and Sales Summary, and this will provide a snapshot for all the financial activity for this customer. Many of the fields throughout the software have drill downs to reveal details for that particular field. Here, the balance field is enabled with the drill down button to provide quick access to the table of invoices whose totals equal $18,024. Let's select that, and it launches that table. So why do we say AddonSoftware by Barista? Just what is Barista? The Barista Application Framework is a data dictionary-based GUI development platform. It is the workbench for developing data-centric applications. It also provides the application runtime environment for end users when running those Barista managed applications. Barista is a framework, not a code generator. Barista has the unique ability to preserve your customizations through the upgrade cycle, thereby preventing your customized applications from becoming frozen in time. By that I mean you can continue to provide your customers with new features and functions without having to rewrite all of those customizations. It delivers a consistently modern look and feel to all of your applications. As a rapid application tool, Barista allows you to quickly and easily make changes to your application, making you much more productive with your time. These efficiencies thereby lower the costs of ownership to both the end user and to you, the developer. Additionally, your efficiencies will allow you to serve more customers without increasing your workforce. Barista was the development tool we used to modernize AddonSoftware, and it's included with the product. As we go through today's session, we'll point out the benefits to AddonSoftware of having used the Barista framework. Here's why you should be considering AddonSoftware as your ERP product of choice. AddonSoftware is a product that is low risk, with a long time in the market and thousands of users. Basis International just celebrated its 25th anniversary, and Addon actually predates Basis. Basis itself uses AddonSoftware as its core ERP solution with significant customizations. It's a reliable, robust solution, and much like the Basis technology upon which it's built, we can scale it from 1 or 2 users all the way up to hundreds of users. It's competitively priced. We've priced the product competitively at the low end and scaled it right up to the many hundred user site systems. Our user-based model is flexible and meets the competitive pricing requirement. We recognize that in order for our product to be successful, you need to be successful. So we've designed a supportive partner program. Within that program, we have a unique co-op community that gives the ability to partner with us in the whole process of delivering the solution, including participation in developing the solution. We provide you with access to the source code, so you are able to customize the solution to meet your customers' requirements. And remember, we give you the ability to preserve those customizations through an upgrade. We have a building block architecture that lets you focus on your vertical market instead of the rather mundane standard accounting and distribution building blocks. It empowers you with tight integration by allowing you to bring your custom screens written in raw BBJ and integrate them into the Barista look and feel that's found in AddonSoftware.
You'll often hear us referring to the AddonSoftware development project as well as the partnership program as being a commercial open source project and partnership program. What does that really mean? Let's talk about the uniqueness of this partnership program. There is an optional component to it whereby you can produce or deliver some of your work product to the project as a whole. So it's a cooperative development component, and we can refer to it as the co-op program. There are many ways of receiving a benefit from your cooperation. Firstly, is you can participate and reduce your monthly fee, a traditional fee that is paid for participation and access to discounts in the partnership program. Secondly, you can receive product credits from your contributions. That means that your contributions towards the project allow you to increase your margins when you resell the product. And finally, you have a say in the direction of the development of the ERP solution as a whole. A very powerful enabler, which is very common to the open source development projects in the community. Let's have a look at some comparisons on why one would consider using this commercial open source approach. Let's look at the elements of a traditional ERP type partner program. You often have a strong company in a traditional VAR environment that is certainly present. Open source is perhaps more of a loosely coupled cooperative effort from various partners with vested interests in the solution. And then in commercial open source, you still have that ownership element by a strong company. The source code in a traditional VAR environment is generally available, or sometimes available, after a significant payment made to the owners of the product. In open source, obviously that source code is available to everyone, and similarly in our commercial open source approach. In terms of the revenue streams that one has, service revenue is certainly available in the traditional VAR program environment. In open source, it's the key component of the revenue stream available to those that contribute towards the project. And in commercial open source, the same applies. Sales revenue. This is a very strong differentiating factor. Traditional VAR channel, that is certainly where you derive the majority of your revenue, is from the sale of the product, the on sale of the product to the end user. Open source, of course, there is no selling price to the product. It is open source by its very nature. There is no price to sell the product. Commercial open source, as the name suggests, is it still has a commercial value. There's a street value that is associated with it, and in addition to that, there is an opportunity to increase one's margin. So depending upon your contribution to the project, instead of having margins that may range from 20% to perhaps at the high end of 50% margin in traditional VAR channel, here you have the opportunity from your contributions to earn up to 100% margin on the sale of the product. Product management by supplier, certainly that's necessary in the traditional VAR way. In the open source arena, well, of course, there's no supplier, so there cannot be any product management by the supplier. Commercial open source, that is certainly the case. Basis provides that management component for the product. In terms of development tools, traditional VAR channel often provide you with development tools. Open source, one gleans those from the community. In the commercial open source environment, in the case where Basis is both a provider of the development tools, the language, as well as the building blocks. We provide a plethora of tools to make sure that that development runs smoothly. Let's have a look at some of the other components. Cooperative development tools, the traditional VAR world, generally not available unless you're part of that fee-paid open source or access to source code component, and generally those tools are few and far between. Open source, naturally enough, there's a need to have the ability for diverse entities to be able to cooperatively work on the same product, and similarly in our world, we've leveraged those open source tools like SVN to provide remote access and remote contributions towards that common product. Top to bottom support. Traditional VAR channel, not so much. Perhaps in the Microsoft world, you have a top to bottom approach, but there seem to be siloed efforts on that front. Open source, not really. You're going to need to weave in the various components of open source projects to make a fully sustainable solution. In our world, we provide that top to bottom approach. Both access to third-party Java libraries, we integrate those into our solution in the form of utility building blocks from Basis, as well as the Basis development tools right down to the language. So leveraging that access to the development team that makes the core product, makes the top to bottom support a lot more sustainable and powerful than alternative sources. Revenue from upgrades or rentals and maintenance. Traditional VAR channel, naturally enough, as a component of the product sale. Future upgrades and access to software asset management is a component of that. Open source, naturally not. Everything by its very nature is open source and doesn't have a cost to it. One relies on service revenue, training, and perhaps documentation. On the commercial open source world, again, revenue from upgrades or rental maintenance is readily available. You have one has the partnership discount through the channel, as well as the opportunity to increase those margins through contributions to the project. Revenue from installation, training, and customization across the board, very much the same. So very distinct differences between those three approaches, and we believe we blended the best of both worlds from the traditional VAR channel to the open source into what we term a commercial open source partnership program and development effort that everybody benefits from, the end users, the developers, and the suppliers.
Thanks, Nico. Let's get back to the product and let's take a look at some of the advanced features of AddonSoftware by Barista. First of all, we'll touch on the document output system, and we'll talk about plumbing your existing or newly created handwritten code into the Barista framework, which will deliver a seamless look and feel. We'll look at an example of iReports and Jasper reports. And finally, we'll look at AddonSoftware's powerful yet easily managed role-based security and audit logging systems. We offer a robust document output feature that allows you to create, email, fax, PDF, archive, interface with cloud document storage through Google Docs, and convert your report to ASCII text. You can also preview and adjust your report formatting prior to producing your report. Let's take a look at what the Google Doc interface looks like. Here we are inside AddonSoftware. We're going to create a report within the GL module. Balance sheet, hit process. When the preview comes up, we're going to select the Doc Out button in the top right corner there, and we'll select under the Google section that it's going to go to Google in PDF, and that is my Google account information, and I've specified the folder I want it to go to. I select Create. I'm going to bring up my Google Doc folder that I sent it to, and you'll see that it's empty. I hit refresh, and there's my report. We're going to open the report. And there we are. And within Google Docs, we have the functionality to share this with other users and to email it to them or whatever I need.
The next topic we'd like to talk about is plumbing Barista into your app. I'm often asked the question, can Barista deliver 100% of my project's requirements? Is it the tool for everything that I want to write in a GUI environment? And the answer, of course, is no. Maybe 98%, maybe 95% of your code can be delivered straight from the Barista tool. But oftentimes, there are going to be little bits of the application where you're going to need more granular control of your GUI environment. Perhaps add controls that aren't supported in Barista, some other methodologies that don't lend themselves to the data dictionary-based environment. So let's consider a couple of those ways that we can accommodate that And we accommodate it by plumbing the Barista framework, the MDI framework, the navigation controls into your custom written GUI app. Of course, we can always run, if we're in a transitionary mode, we can run character-based code within the Barista MDI. You can run any GUI code, but of course we want to make it look and feel the same. So the accommodation that we have available to you is in three ways. First, we can take pre-existing forms, GUI forms and controls that have been generated outside of Barista, and we can plumb in the Barista components. Secondly, we can add BBJ controls to a pre-existing Barista form. So in other words, if the standard Barista form doesn't give you what you want, you can extend it with your own controls and utilize core point code to manage those controls. And lastly, we've added the ability for you to create new code within App Builder and use that within the Barista framework. So let's have a look at a quick screenshot of those three. Pre-existing forms and controls, we can go from this environment where we have buttons on the screen to control update, delete, and clear, for example, into a form that looks like it belongs in the Barista environment. So we've added the Barista menus across the top, we've added the navigation across the bottom. The second alternative that we discussed is extending Barista forms by adding native BBJ controls. So here we have within the add-on product, our cash receipts entry, it didn't lend itself to using a standard Barista form layout. We've used a Barista form that has controls across the top, but the controls within the red box here, the new grid, has some check boxes in it and some different functionality that we've generated in our core point code, but we've added it within the Barista form. And then lastly, we may want to write some completely new code utilizing the App Builder, and we've made some accommodations within App Builder to make it possible for us to pass program arguments and actually debug and test that within the Basis IDE environment. So again, leveraging those plumbing pieces so that the application looks like it's part of the Barista framework as if it is written utilizing Barista, but in fact it's written in hand-coded BBJ. If you want to learn more about this, have a look at our previous Java Break presentation that talks about plumbing Barista into custom BBJ, and have a look at the Advantage magazine article, plumbing the Barista framework into BBJ forms. Let's look at some of the other aspects that AddonSoftware has inherited and taken advantage of from the Barista environment. We've also leveraged the BBJ utility set. We've utilized the ability for us to integrate iReports and Jasper report formats into our AddonSoftware framework. So utilizing the BB Jasper utility, you'll see here the vendor detail listing is one that doesn't lend itself to the columnar type presentation format. And so we've utilized an iReport to generate this. More recently, some of the enhancements was to ship a more pleasing font. So this report is certainly a vast improvement over the original report that we shipped with the product. But have a look at some of the other environments within AddonSoftware, some of which we've enhanced with iReports to generate a more pleasing, graphically acceptable report format. And you can do your custom reporting then either using iReports or dockout type generated reports.
We've included a role-based security system that's both easy to set up and easy to maintain. Create an employee profile, assign that new employee to a security role or to multiple roles, and you're on your way. Security roles are set to allow or block views, additions, modifications, or deletions at the field level. Additionally, there's a configurable audit trail that tracks record creation, deletion, and modification. No code needs to be written for these functions. Here are a few of the new features recently added to AddonSoftware. Enterprise Manager API integration means that your BBJ user records are shared. The document inquiry is something I'll be demonstrating, and we have a new copy and paste function added to our inquiry screens. Let's take a look at those. So let's log into the Basis Enterprise Manager and get started. We're going to select Users and Authentication. We're going to create a new user, and this one's going to be called Marketing. Assign a password, confirm that password, we select OK. Now we're going to move over to Barista. Here's the Barista application framework. Under Users, we're going to use the drop down. We right click on Import Users and we put a check mark next to Marketing and select OK. Now we're going to look at those user records, and there's Marketing. It's been added without having to rebuild. So now we're over in Add-on Software under Users, and it has inherited that attribute from Barista straight into Add-on Software. Now back in Add-on Software, we want to take a look at that new document inquiry feature. We're going to create a report here in 13-period report printing. Run process. We've created our report. And we're going to go up to the Save icon on that report. Click Save As. We have an opportunity to navigate and determine where it goes, and we can name it. We're going to save it. Close that out, and now we're going to go into Barista Administration under Document Inquiry. Here are our saved documents. Here's the one we just created. We right-click on it. We can open that document. From here, we can print it again. Close that out. Right-click, and let's look at another option. We can fax and email it, and this sets it up in the queue, ready to go out the door. The last new feature I want to show you within Add-on Software is the copy-paste function we've added to the inquiry screens. Here we are in the customer master file. Vendor 100 is Everest Industries. We're going to go over to Aging and Sales Summary to the drill down, and it brings up a list of all those invoices. We select them, we right-click, copy, and it brings up the Copy Options screen. Make our selections, bring up Microsoft Excel. We drop that data into Excel, and now we're ready to do our analysis. Quick and easy. Now let's take a look at some more Add-on Software functionality that it inherits from the Barista tool. Your application, developed with Barista, will automatically inherit these handy features. The Favorites feature allows you to create your own drop-down list with a simple right-click of the mouse. Then launch that task from the drop-down list across modules to quickly move around the solution to your commonly run tasks, quickly and efficiently. To quickly return to a task that we'd worked on earlier in that session, select the History drop-down. From that list, select the task you need to return to and relaunch it from that area. This is a quick alternative to working through the navigation panels. Add-on Software accommodates multiple workforce languages by leveraging Barista's underlying technologies. Using a single code source, you can add languages to adapt to different parts of the United States where English might be a second language, or internationalize the solution. We currently have Barista available in 7 languages. You're able to launch multiple task windows and minimize them to easily move between tasks. Additionally, you may launch your windows in SDI mode with the click of a button, thereby freeing the new window from the MDI framework and control. This provides flexibility for multi-screen workspaces. The Saved Reports feature allows you to save the settings that you set for a report structure, save them for your own use, or you can share them across the organization for standardization. Those were features that the Add-on Software solution inherited thanks to Barista. Here's some other powerful features we've preserved from earlier versions of Add-on Software. From the Order Entry window, we can quickly check the credit status of a customer with the click of a button, which brings up a recap of the customer's credit limit, their open invoices and orders, and the amount of credit remaining. The line code field within Order Entry is an important feature in Add-on. It allows each line in the order to be dealt with differently in terms of function and in terms of revenue account number. The typical item line type is the standard inventory item. Entering an item displays all the available warehouse quantities in the lower section of the form. For the next line code, we select a non-stock code to create a special order item. Then we added a memo line code, which allows us to enter freeform text straight into the order. The last item we entered, the P code, is a promotional item. All this flexibility has been a great hit with our end users. Much of Add-on Software's reporting is free from the traditional constraints of period end or year-end processes. Here we show an AR aging report run for a period several years ago. Within the General Ledger module, financials can be run for prior, current, and future year. Inventory transaction reports can be run for any historical range. This flexibility reduces the crunch often associated with month or year-end closings and data reports. Alternate and superseded inventory items can be established within the system as substitute items